So this video is going to be primarily a comparison between the GLX and the SLX versions of the 1X microprism by Primary Arms. Primary Arms came out with an updated version, the GLX, from the SLX version of their 1X microprism. The question is it worth the extra money? Is it better than the SLX? And which one should you get? So we'll first talk about what these optics are, right? These are 1X etched reticle optics that are designed for close use. Primary Arms says they are designed for close quarters work. So think about home defense, CQB. Primarily, you'd be putting it on a shorter barreled gun, 9mm, something like that. It can go on a shotgun. I would put it on anything where you don't need that much magnified options. And you can always put a magnifier combined with this, and it'll work. So what I really like about the 1X, the etched optics, is that you have an etched reticle where if the battery dies, you still have that reticle, right? It's etched into the glass, so it's not like an EOTech where if the battery goes out, you have nothing. Or a red dot, if the battery goes out, you're done. You still have an optic that you can use, so it's still usable. And a lot of people like the illuminated the red reticle in there. You can use it as somewhat of like a red dot, but during daylight times, I find myself using just the black reticle. Regardless, it's a very versatile and very sturdy optic because there are no moving parts, right? You just have an etched reticle. It's a 1X, there's no magnification changing. There's much less to go wrong. Now, like I said, they both are very similar, relatively similar in size and weight. There are some differences, we'll talk about that, but they both have illuminated reticles. They both use very popular CR2032 batteries, right? Those lithium batteries. They both have the ACSS reticle, and they both have a crazy amount of eye relief, which is really cool with these 1X optics. And as you'll see, they're mounted up in different heights right now. What's cool about Primary Arms is they pack about, I think it's 8 different configurations of different heights that you can get with these optics. So you will find the perfect setup for your gun. Now let's talk differences, okay? What makes the new GLX much different from the old SLX? Okay, first of all, you'll notice the size. If we're talking size, the GLX is a little bit larger. The objective lens is a little bit bigger, and because of that, it's a little bit heavier than the older SLX. The SLX was a pretty popular model, and then when they came out with the GLX version, the one that's made in the Philippines as opposed to China, they made a few different upgrades, and the biggest upgrade that they made on this particular model were they replaced the knob style reticle illumination with just push buttons on the side, which is, I guess, pretty cool. They moved the battery compartment from the side up to the top, and they changed, another thing I noticed was the click adjustments are half MOA, whereas with the SLX, it was 1 MOA. So you can get more precise zeros with the GLX version. You're also getting the better quality glass as opposed to the SLX version. Both look really good and both look super clear. So glass-wise, I'm not sure there's much of a difference there. With the new GLX, they also made the brightness levels much brighter than the SLX because people were like, we need it more daylight bright. So they did that. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the battery life differences now between the two as well. But with all those upgrades, it jacked the price of the GLX $50 higher. So these are $299, whereas the SLX versions are $249. Not a huge difference in price. So it may make you think, should I even get the GLX? Is it worth it? I'm going to go over that right now. So for brightness levels, like I said, the GLX can get much brighter than the SLX version. If that's important to you, you might think, I don't really care, I'll pay the extra money, I want the GLX. Okay, that's fair enough. Another difference between the two is that the GLX comes in over 9 ounces, whereas the SLX was a little bit over 7 ounces. So with the larger objective lens and the larger optic size, you do get more weight with the GLX. That may be a deal breaker for you. 2 ounces, not that bad. It's still about the same weight as an EOTech, so nothing really crazy right there. So now because we have more brightness levels in the GLX like we talked about, the battery life is about half as the SLX. Battery life on the SLX is estimated 25,000 hours to 50,000 hours, whereas the GLX is 10,000 to 25,000. So you're cutting your battery life in half. Again, if daylight bright, like crazy bright is really important to you, then the GLX is going to be your go-to, but just know that you're going to probably change out the batteries. Just have a spare battery. So this SLX I've had for over a year, maybe like 2 years at this point. I have not changed the battery once. I probably should have, but I haven't needed to. It has an auto shut-off feature, an auto awake feature, so like the shake awake, it's still working. So 2 years, that thing is still running. Now the difference is, like I said, the click values. So I do really appreciate that the click values were made more accurate. You're using 0.5 MOA clicks as opposed to, so that's a ½ inch click at 100 yards. Whereas with the SLX, you're looking at 1 MOA. So every adjustment is 1 inch movement. So you can get down to a ½ inch as opposed to an inch. I think that's a great idea. It's when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. One of the features that was not talked about or described in any of their features was the diopter. On the GLX, I can turn this pretty easily to adjust for my eyes. On the SLX version, I don't know if it never had that feature. Like, it has a diopter there, but I was never able to actually move it. It just doesn't move. So I was never able to even adjust that. Not sure if that was just mine or whatever, but it was weird. So, okay, you have adjustable diopter. I think that's huge. If that isn't a feature with the SLX and it is with the GLX, then that's awesome. Another feature people are probably going to be concerned about, and I would be too, is the glass clarity. How is the glass, and is the GLX a huge step up? And looking through it, honestly, they're both very clear. I know the SLXs are made in China. I'm assuming Chinese glass. The GLXs are made in the Philippines. I'm assuming Filipino glass from the Philippines. But both look very clear. Honestly, I wouldn't give one a better grade than the other. They're both very clear, good glass, good quality. So you're saying, hey Greg, which one should I get? Okay, if you're going between the two and you have to decide, basically if you need a lighter version and you're not super worried about the brightness, or maybe you're really concerned about battery life, then I would say go with the SLX. You're not really missing out on that much. It's a very good optic. Both are very, very sturdy. They feel like they were built like a tank, right? You could smash them and they'd be fine. If you are more concerned with, hey, I want a really bright light, I would go with the GLX. It's $50 more. They both come in red and green, so that's not even a concern. You can get red or green with both of these. I would say if you're on an extreme budget, need something lightweight, go with the SLX. If you want to get the GLX, I would get the GLX. I would say the GLX outshines the SLX in pretty much every category except for battery life. The 2 ounces in weight difference is not a huge deal for me. All right, that's my quick review. I hope I gave you a little bit better idea of which one to get if you're looking at the Primary Arms 1X. They're both great. Check them out.